Welcome on into the Auburn Express, powered by the War Report. I'm your host, Mike G, and thank you so much for turning us up and turning us on live from SEC Media Days at the College Football Hall of Fame. Joining me, as he does from time to time, is my good friend Brooks Austin. He covers Georgia better than anybody I know. Very prolific Twitterer or Xer or whatever you want to say. That Xer sounds like a porn. We won't go with that. Brooks, you've been here for the first 2 days. You've heard what Kirby Smart had to say today. You've heard what Hugh Freeze had to say today. Talk to me about Game 6 of the season for Auburn. Auburn versus Georgia. Auburn has not won this game since 2017. And then when they did, they immediately got waxed a couple weeks later in the SEC championship game.
Yeah, I think it's two of the longer streaks that Georgia's got going on, at least in program history. I know they're like 10 or 11 years in a row beating Florida or something crazy, maybe 6 or 7 years in a row beating Florida, and they got the streak on Auburn going right now. It's one of them's bound to break at some point, one of these streaks. That game going to Jordan-Hare every year feels like one of those iffy ones for Georgia since Kirby's been there. They've never really gone to Jordan-Hare and dominated, at least not in my memory. Do you think of a game off the top of your head?
Oh, not in Jordan-Hare.
All the controllings of Auburn at the hands of Georgia have been in Athens. And I think those games in Jordan-Hare are pretty daggum close every single year from what I remember.
Speaking of that, right, there are a lot of Georgia fans who have looked at that game. They've come in our comment section, and even Auburn fans that feel like this year, it doesn't feel like it's an automatic win for Georgia. Auburn might have a better chance than it appears they've had in years past. What do you think about where these two teams are situated and where they will be midseason? Look, Georgia is going through some changes. When you win championships, you're going to go through cycles, right? Carson Beck experiment or whatever you want to call it, him moving on weirdly. Gunnar Stockton is coming up behind him. What's the state of Georgia right now, man? What kind of football team is Auburn looking at?
I think Georgia's whole message this offseason around their quarterback at least has been his leadership capabilities, right? His ability to unify the team as a whole. So I think you're getting probably a little bit more of a connected unit from Georgia. I don't know if they're as like NFL ready at the quarterback position as they were the previous years with Carson at the helm. I think that guy's a Sunday dude from a can you make every completion type of quarterback, but from a college quarterback standpoint of do you elevate everyone around you? Do you make others around you believe in you and the whole of a unit as a whole? I think Gunnar does a lot more of those college-y things a lot better than Carson did during his time at Georgia. So I think that's what you got. But from a skill set standpoint, Georgia's miles away better in a better situation than they were at the end of last year. And I've been going around SEC Media Days kind of with this one take, right? Where Notre Dame, you watched that game last year, they're in third down situations where we've got to have a wide receiver get open and win against man-to-man coverage that Notre Dame plays a lot. And they're going to Dylan Bell, who Dylan Bell's a really, really good college football player. Don't get me wrong. He's going to start this year for them, play a lot of snaps for them. But that's like the third or fourth option this year for Georgia, at least preseason on paper. You look at Colby Young. You look at, Noah Thomas coming over from Texas A&M. You look at Zachariah Branch coming over from USC as well. So just the amount of weapons around Gunnar at the wide receiver position are a lot better preseason on paper than what they were closing the year last year, which to allude to Auburn, I have been with this take all offseason. I think Auburn's got the best wide receiver core in the SEC. I really do. I think Auburn's got the best weapons available to them, and they weren't bad at the wide receiver core last year. I mean, they were one of the more explosive teams in college football, just couldn't hold on to the ball themselves, so we'll see about that. Auburn would scare any football team this year for me with the amount of weapons that they have. I think Cam Coleman's got an opportunity to be one of the best weapons in college football, period, this year.
He certainly has a chance to be one of the best Auburn Tigers to ever suit up at wide receiver, certainly. The Phoenix City product.
By the way? Who's the best wide receiver in Auburn history?
The last 1,000-yard receiver they had was Ronnie Daniels, and that was 1999.
So y'all are in the same boat Georgia is. Georgia hasn't had a 1,000-yard receiver since Terrence Edwards in 2000.
Yes, that's real.
That exists. And meanwhile, Alabama's had 12 first-round wide receivers in the time that Georgia's done that. 12 first-round wide receivers have been selected out of Alabama since the time Georgia's had 1,000-yard wide receiver.
Oh, wow. I'll tell you, it's a streak that Auburn fans hope they break. They've had
we write an article every year Is Georgia going to have a 1,000-yard receiver? I don't know. You know?
Well, I remember the early 2000s. It felt like every Georgia receiver had their career day versus Auburn. Yeah, did you guys had a guy, I think his name was Michael Johnson. Do you remember Michael Johnson?
So I started covering Georgia in 2017 or 2019, and I was playing college ball from 13 to 17. So I have like a decade of Georgia football completely erased.
This guy had clearly his best game every time Auburn and Georgia played. But the skill positions will be, I think, front and center in this matchup that comes game 6 for Auburn. I'm not sure which game it is on the schedule for Georgia, but about the same, yeah, midseason.
I think they obviously get it before Florida, and then I think they get another one before Texas.
So it's not before
that one. I know that.
Hugh Freeze is going to have to find a way to get the ball to Cam Coleman. Eric Singleton Jr. came in from Georgia Tech. They're saying a lot of really good things about him. They got the young guy, Malcolm Simmons. What do you see from this game? Last year, this was a game going into the fourth quarter. Midfield, Peyton Thorne and Hugh Freeze famously not on the same page.
2 years in a row, I have felt like Hugh has come into that Georgia game with a damn game plan and a half. Like whether it be we're going to score a bunch of points or whether it be we're going to squat on the football. I mean, the road game for Georgia, and I think it was 2023, y'all got a 67-yard run from Peyton Thorne to open that football game on a play that had not been ran by Auburn all year. And had it been ran, it was with my man, the quarterback that went to South Carolina. Yeah, it was with Robbie. If they were running any type of quarterback run that year, it was with Robbie. And last year, I felt like they had a tremendous opening script with Jarquez Hunter. I know, obviously, he's an individual talent, and some of that stuff was on him. But you're right. 2 years in a row, Georgia's by far and away had the better team on paper, considerable favorites in Vegas. Auburn's staring them in the face midway through the third quarter. But to me, man, like as an outsider looking at Auburn's football program, I know Hugh can recruit when he's got the assets to do so, when he's got the resources to do so. I know he can recruit. That dates back to his time at Ole Miss. I know he can develop game plans. What I don't know about Hugh Freeze and Auburn's run right now is like, what is Hugh's signature win since being at Auburn? What is his big win?
We're 3 years in.
Going on year 4. Does Hugh? And
I know he was 4th
17 Hail Mary away from having a big win in the Iron Bowl at home. I know we were one play away from having it. But what is Hugh Freeze's big win? In my opinion, like, record be damned, the schedule says Auburn should win 8 games this year. It says that. But whether or not you win and get a meaningful win, to me, is the important thing for Auburn this year. Can you beat one of these teams that Auburn fans expect you to not only beat, but win a national title at some point? You see what I'm saying?
That's my big
question about Auburn. It's like, yeah, are you going to maintain the turnovers, or is Jackson Arnold going to be a thing? But, like, can y'all get a signature win under Hugh?
Yeah, I think that you're right. I cannot. I'm sitting as we sit here. I cannot think of a signature win.
There is one. There's he doesn't have a signature win in 3 years at Auburn, and it ain't like y'all ain't played big games.
I think that beating Georgia would definitely be a signature win for Hugh here in year 3. Look, the line, Vegas set the line at 7.5. I want to close the show on this. You said you got them marked as an 8-win team with the schedule. But when I sat down for my one-on-one with Hugh, like a couple months back in May, I tried to get him to acknowledge that, hey, man, at 7-5, point to me 5 losses where there's not a really disappointing loss in that group of 5 with this schedule. Because he kind of said, well, it kind of depends how you get the 7-5. I said, no, I don't think it matters. I think if you lose 5 on this schedule, you definitely lost one you were supposed to win.
7-5s are created equal. You know, they're not. So
at 8 wins, and I'll rattle off the schedule for our listeners at home. You open against Baylor. You've got Ball State and South Alabama, and that's your first 3 games. You open SEC play at Oklahoma. You're at Texas A&M, and then you got Georgia coming to the Plains. That's 6 games in. If they get out of that stretch 4-2, you're looking great. And I would even say split Oklahoma and Texas A&M. You can stomach a loss to Georgia as long as you can beat Baylor to open your season. After that, you get Missouri, you get Arkansas, you get Kentucky and Vanderbilt back to back. You get Mercer, and then you get Alabama and the Iron Bowl. I cannot look at that stretch and see really an acceptable loss before the Iron Bowl after Georgia.
It's what's made the offseason comments like really, really weird to me. Again, as a complete outsider, like when I hear we got to make a bowl. Now I know it was taken out of it really wasn't taken out of context because he said it. But when the head coach at Auburn says we got to get to a bowl game, like
bowl eligible, so he said.
Duh, like that. Yeah, we're in year 4. Like we should be scratching on surface. We should be at the end of 2025 looking at our football program like South Carolina is entering 2025. You know what I'm saying? Like we're on the precipice of a college football playoff run. We just got to get that extra piece, or we got to have an extra further portion of development from certain players. But like, can we get to 8-4? Can we make a bowl? It just doesn't seem like there's amount of optimism that the head coach should be speaking. You know what I mean? Like I almost gave Shane a little bit of flack last year for talking about wanting to be in the college football playoff. Like, you're South Carolina, maybe you shouldn't set the expectations for that. But no, on second thought, maybe you should set your expectations a little higher so we can aim for something, right? We shouldn't be aiming for, I know I got to make a bowl game. Like, yeah, we know that, you know.
Well, I'll tell you, they got to make a bowl game, but they've got to make a decent bowl game, and it's going to take 8 wins or more. Let me get you on the record here. Over, under 7.5. And how many wins do you think if, either way?
So, can you call me after week 1? Can I see what they look like against Baylor?
You adjust your pick after game 1.
Like, the Baylor game is a major litmus test. Because that's Sawyer Robinson can sling the pill. Like, that dude can throw the football. They've got a good offense. They put up almost 500 yards of passing against LSU last year in the bowl game. Like, they can get after it a little bit. So, like, I'm curious what that ultimately looks like, but I'm going to go over. I think you have to win 8 games this year if you're Hugh Freeze. I also think it would be a crying shame for any football coach to have done what that dude did in the last 2 classes on the recruiting trail and then not get to reap the rewards. You know what I'm saying? Like, they did what they were supposed to do in the 2025 and 2024 recruiting classes, but if he doesn't do what he's supposed to do on the field this year, does he get to see those classes? Like, if they turn another 6-6, if they turn a 7-5, does Hugh Freeze get to reap the rewards of what he earned on the recruiting trail? And by the way, if they win football games, I think what's going on right now in recruiting ain't going to be all that much of a problem. I think if they go out and win football games, you're going to see winning on the recruiting trail this fall for Auburn as well. But if not, I don't know, man.
Proof of concept definitely is a powerful thing.
Again, like, even if you're 8-4, did you beat one of these big boys? Did you go win a game you weren't supposed to? You know what I'm saying? Do you have a signature win? I think that's more important. If I were an Auburn fan, that's what I would be looking for. Can we win one of these games we're not supposed to, technically, on paper?
If you win 8 games, you certainly did that with this schedule, I think, personally. So, great stuff as always, Brooks Austin. Before we get out of here, as always, tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, Brooks Austin, BA on all social medias, and you can find me at the Film Guy Network on YouTube. We'll be doing a lot of SEC breakdowns this year, so if your team wins or loses a game, you don't know why, come check us out. We'll probably give you an answer as to why.
Great stuff as always. Guys, that's it for another great edition of the Auburn Express powered by the War Report. Want to thank our sponsors, our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code REPORT to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever ails you in life, the Rogue Shop has something that has you covered. Also want to thank our friends at Golden's Cast Iron. Visit goldenscastiron.com/WR. Use code Get Your Weight Up for 15% off your weights and code TWR for 15% off, $65 off. Fire pits and Kamado grills. The summer is here. Work out, grill out, chill out with Golden's Cast Iron. I want to thank our friends at the Vibe Vault. Visit the Vibe Vault at 3462 Crosswinds Road, Suite E in Phoenix City, Alabama. If you want to get fresh for the weekend, they're not just barbers, they're lifestyle consultants. And I want to thank our friends at cameragraphics.net for providing all the equipment that you see that makes these recordings possible. Great partners with us every time we hit the road. Visit them at 1625 East University Drive in Auburn, Alabama. Please hit like and subscribe on the channel. Make sure you support all the work that we're doing. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow with more great content from SEC Media Days at the College Football Hall of Fame. We're signing off, and as always, War Eagle.